your LEGO displays look cluttered, look messy, look just so bad that you wish they were cooler? Well, I may have found one solution to that problem. At least for things that fly. Have you ever heard of display stands? Well, maybe you have. But have you seen ones as awesome as Brickcessories? Probably not. And that's what I have here. That's what I have in this non-sponsored shipment of some really cool epic stands from Brickcessories. And no, this isn't my first time getting from them. It's my second. But that's besides the point. In this shipment, I got 3 different ones. The Mandalorian Ving Fighter versus TIE Interceptor, which includes 2 smaller stands and 1 4-figure base. Then I also got the 1 unique stand for the V-19 Torrent. I hope it works. And then last but not least, I got 2 of the TIE Fighter versus X-Wing mashup, which includes a small one and a large stand, along with a 5-figure base. Putting them up is actually fairly easy. Each thing or part is in its own separate small Ziploc bag. For example, a stand in one and the minifig thing in another. Opening up a generic angle display stand here, you'll see that you got a few different things inside the bag, along with your beautiful instruction-like paper that tells you a few things, what stand it is and how to assemble it. Now, the different parts are in a protective peel-off like cover, which is nice, but gosh, is it hard to take off. But back to that in a sec. So what you get is the base of the stand part of the stand, and then 2 options for the top that you can choose between, depending on the model you so choose. Which, by the way, each stand does have this, so you don't have to worry about sharing them. You'll probably have extras regardless, but still nice they're included. You also get the studs that are a white color, which are used for the connection to the said model. They used to be LEGO branded for a lot of their older ones, but now I've kind of realized they're more their own generic brand, which, hey, I mean, it works. Glad they have their own now. And the last thing is...
More special than me. Robots, bring me the sword of exact zero.
Yeah. I'm kidding, of course, but this is a bright orange, slightly sharp tool that you'll use to take off the protective film, which, by the way, only the stands have, not the minifig thing. Just so you are aware, I'm going to show you what it does to human skin, that it is not sharp enough to harm you, thankfully. If you press really hard down on it, though, especially when you're using it to take off the peeling thing, it definitely will hurt a little bit. So please be careful. Okay, but that's all the parts. Stand base, stand, 2 different heads, 4 studs, and a bright orange blade thingamabob. Now, how do you actually put this thing all together? First, you'll need to take off that protective layer I was talking about. You'll need to use the bright orange sharp thing to kind of get underneath the layer in order to peel this off. Usually, once you get a part of it, though, the rest of it comes off completely fine. Some definitely come off better than others, though. There's some difficulty there. One side has 3 different things you gotta peel. An outer layer, the middle part, and then there's an engraved logo that is separate from that. Once you get that one side, flip it over and attempt to get the large piece. I advise scraping it on the side to actually kind of dig up in between. Once complete, I advise trying to keep it on a clean surface to rest it on, as all the parts are very, very staticky. So if you have dogs like I do, the hair is just all over the place and it gets really annoying. But besides that, you'll do exactly the same thing for the base of the model, where you use the orange thingy to peel off the layer. So you're aware, some of the larger stands, like the larger one, will actually have a separate other piece that you'll actually need to take off too. But besides that, next you'll need to do the head of the stand, which you'll have 2 versions of for most stands. These are actually updated from the last time I bought them. They used to have the same brown stuff used on the stand, which I now actually found is on the large stand still, but for the newer, smaller stands, they switched to this really strange bluey gooey thing that actually peels off way easier, and I find it a lot more enjoyable to take off than that, and my fingers hurt a lot less now, so I'm glad. Now, putting the different parts together. Place your base down and pick which side you want up. It doesn't always matter. And then slide your stand into the center slot. Some will actually have more that you slide in, but besides that, some are easier than others. But they do at least have a nice grip. Most of the time. Once that's in place, you can pick which head you want. Whichever one you choose, you place the studs to the slots that would work best for the model you choose to use for it. And yes, you can remove them and replace them if needed. Some are definitely hard to get, but they usually work well. Then you place it on the stand. The 4x4 only has one way for it to be placed, while the 2 wide is able to be rotated at 90-degree increments, allowing for more movement and displayability. And that's it, a complete stand. And now time to do this a great multiple times. Yay. Okay, now the minifig display base is separate. You buy it together like a bundle, like bundling from State Farm. I'm kidding, this isn't sponsored. I probably can't say that actually, can I? I don't know. So it gets its own Ziploc bag and instructions. One thing is to note the sharp orange thingy doesn't come with these. Only the actual stands, at least to my knowledge, is buying it as a bundle. But yes, you get the base and then the small black studs, then you'll place into the slots. This is what your figures are placed on. Putting this together is very simple, same as before. Peel off the protective layers, then place the studs into the slots, and voila, it's complete. Good job, you did it again. And then side by side, these do look really good though, I will admit. In case you haven't noticed or haven't looked at their beautiful, amazing website, go check that out by the way at Brickcessories.com. There are so many different types of stands they have. As you've noticed, I have a few of the generic ones. First, a smaller stand with a slight tilt, and this is probably the most common and most versatile, at least in my opinion. Then there's a slightly taller version of that. It's just a bit taller, but still has a nice little tilt to it. And which, by the way, they do actually sell flat versions of each of these separately, so that's nice. Just the bundles I got, they have the tilted ones, which, like I said before, way more versatile. And then they also have a huge mega one that I have for my Krennic's Imperial Shuttle. It was expensive to get, but I love it, okay? It's great. Which is beautiful. And this time around, I ordered ones I already had before with this one, so the only new one I actually got is the V19 Torrent. So they certainly have a lot of variety if that's what you're looking for, while also maintaining that very uniform look. You're probably wondering if these stands are actually even sturdy. Well, I sure as hell hope so, and the answer is yes, as long as you're not brutally throwing them against a wall. But I'm sure they'll be fine anyways, right? I mean, I probably should test that, but I'm not doing it in this video. Sorry, not today. But at least lightly shaking them around, they hold up pretty decently fine. And then just be careful of what the model is that you put on there, and try to make sure it's actually balanced or not too heavy, as that can probably damage the stand, as the headpiece can crack and break more easily as it is thinner acrylic, which I sadly have had an example of what can happen, although it was supposed to be fine. Within my first order from Brickcessories, I got one of their ones that have the invisible hand ship holders. This one was supposed to attach to the back of the Lego display stand that came with the set. Well, that part connected just fine, it was okay, but when you're going to place the heavy half of the ship on the head part, it cracked under its weight, and then I tried to flip it to this side, and that also just cracked it even worse. I'm no longer able to have the stand at all. But this is the difference, as the stand was supposedly designed for this, and it didn't work as intended. I really should contact them about this, but that's besides the point. You get the idea. Under immense weight, they can crack very easily, so be careful with how the model is placed of its overall weight. Overall, though, they seem to be fairly sturdy and hold a very decent amount of weight for a long time. Mine still don't have any cracks or anything, but you probably should check it quite often. The real question is, do I recommend these? Yes, absolutely. As you can tell by the fact that I even bought a second order, then my need to buy more because I'm already running out of stands. I am very impressed with these display stands. They really do elevate your collection and just kind of fit seamlessly. Yeah, it can be kind of a hassle and take some time to put them together with the bright orange thingy that can probably possibly scrape you, which honestly isn't even that bad, but the end result is just pure awesomeness, so I'll take it. And not to mention the prices on these stands are honestly not so bad, about on average about $10 per stand, plus even discounts. Yeah, I'd say that's a steal and so worth it. So if you ever want to elevate your collection and displays and make them hella awesome, I do recommend these stands from Brickcessories. No, I'm not sponsored, and maybe just don't get the invisible hand one. That one didn't turn out so good. And well, if you're a fan of these stands, how does one get them? Well, you kind of have two major options here. buying from their online website, their own personal page, which I found to be much better as you can add discount codes and etc. along with sales. But you can also order them through Amazon, which they actually use to ship through anyways, at least the last time I checked, which is kind of cool. They are also made in the United States, so that's pretty cool as well. If you like that, I guess. Just sucks for European people. Sucks for you guys. But I definitely recommend getting them from their website. Although, yes, Amazon is definitely not a bad second choice, and I'm pretty sure you can still get them in Europe anyways. I'm just joking around. So yes, go check out the Brickcessories website now to get some really cool stands to elevate your displays. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Starlight Bricks, signing out. My phone is now completely out of storage.